Well, patch 10 saw the removal of companions because Blizzard felt that they could make the system a lot cooler. Another reason they gave is that they didn't feel the companions fitted in with the Diablo lore. But I tend to disagree with this because I felt the bat, the snake, the beetle, they all fitted in fine. They didn't jar with the lore. Definitely the bunny and the pig probably didn't fit. So if they do bring them back, hopefully they'll leave them out. And so companions were removed, at least from the initial release. Of course, they could come out in a patch or an expansion pack after release. But for now, they're gone. When I first started playing the beta, I never used companions because I didn't think they would add anything to the game, so I didn't really get round to using them. But I did a few weeks before they were removed, and they made a huge difference. You tend to pick up quite a bit of gold on your own anyway because they're usually near items, so when you're going to click on the items to pick them up, you just automatically pick up the gold. But for the gold that's further away, that's gone from barrels or other minions that haven't actually dropped any items, the companions really helped to hoover up that gold and save you having to go and collect it yourself. But with companions gone, I wanted a way to improve my gold pickup. But thankfully, with the beta being the early part of the game and really easy, I haven't had to worry about the mods on my gear. So I've been able to kit myself out with gathering gear, which increases the radius by 2 that you collect gold. So I've actually kitted myself out completely with all my items have plus 2 yards to gold pickup. Well, all the items that can have that on. So I've got about a 12-yard increase on the radius that I pick gold up. Higher level equipment will have higher distances, greater distances, so they start at 2 and it goes up to 7 yards in increments of 1, but of course that could change before release. And you can see here that makes quite a difference actually on how far you have to travel. And obviously in the beta that's fine, that's all well and good, but obviously when you start getting to further into the game, you're not going to be able to sacrifice one of your mods to radius pickup. You're going to want more important things, so I don't know how that will play out later in the game. Another problem I noticed that may be problematic in later games is that mod also affects the radius of pickup of your health globes. Now at the moment they're falling like confetti and I don't really ever have to pick them up intentionally, they just get picked up. But if you were in a particularly bad fight and they reduce the amount of health globes falling, and you're later in the game and there's health globes dropping towards the back of a pack, and you obviously don't particularly want to pick those up right now, you want to save them until you get a bit lower in health, and then you'll move forward to make sure you pick them up. If you've obviously got an increased radius on in order to pick up gold, you're going to accidentally pick up those globes before you need them. So it'll actually be a wasted globe, and it may well be the only globe that falls during a fight. So it could cause problems later on. Perhaps Blizzard will split the mod off, so one affects globes, or maybe not at all, and the gathering one just affects gold only. Still on the subject of gold, but also including the inventory, patch 10 saw the shared stash reduced from 5 to 3 tabs, and this seems to be based more on technical reasons. Blizzard have said that they're anticipating a large amount of data generated by the gamers very quickly after release, and as D3 has completely random items with more randomization, say, than World of Warcraft, it stores more data to describe each item, has to store the base item, individual affixes it's rolled, the ranges of those variables, and if it has any sockets, and also where it is in the game once it's spawned, as it were, if it's in your stash or your inventory or on the floor or even in the auction house. So clearly there's huge amounts of data to store. I guess until they can assess the server infrastructure they have in place for us, how that stands up, a 40% reduction in storage capacity is probably a reasonable safeguard. But they've also said that they felt 3 tabs were ample. But as was the case with WoW, they'll reassess that. So I'm sure if it does prove to be inadequate, we'll see the stash increased via a patch. I don't think they'll wait until an expansion pack happens. Maybe where players will run into problems is if they're heavy traders and they're hoarding their best items while they're on the auction house, or if they're waiting for the right time to sell them, or if, of course, if you play a lot of characters or you use all 10 character slots. Say you have 1 copy of Diablo 3 in your household and multiple people play it, you could run into storage issues then. One thing they did say that wouldn't be taking up inventory space are white items, which are going to be worth very little as they are now. And if we do start filling our inventory with them, Blizzard have said that they'll reduce the sell cost even further. Right now though, they're proving to be the secondary source of income for me. Since patch 10 and they wiped everything, I've had to retrain my blacksmith, and that's about 1,000 to 1,500 each time you train him. So I wanted to see how much gold I could collect just on one run, starting with a fresh character. I didn't have any equipment on that increased my gold find, and I sold only white and grey items. I salvaged all my blues for crafting materials. So just with one run through, I filled my inventory 7 times and had to go to town each time to sell my greys and whites. And at the end of it, after killing the Skeleton King, I had picked up 5,475 gold pieces, and I had sold my greys and whites worth 1,240. So you end up picking up about 4.5 times more gold than you can sell your khaki items for. So it's not really a huge money earner at all, but 1,200 gold allowed me to train up my blacksmith one time, but it probably wasn't worth going to town 7 times. So there was just one final thing I wanted to talk about. There was a news item that went up earlier today on Diablo IncGamers regarding the radius of XP catchment area, the distance that you could be from the killing and still earn XP and get loot in a multiplayer game. And Soda and Rising Red have provided some screenshots to illustrate it, but I thought you might like a video of it too. So Flux and I hopped in a game and used the Weeping Hollows as our testing grounds. I stayed still whilst he went off killing. And you can see from the mini-map and the experience bar on my belt that I'm getting XP at this distance. And you can see here that I'm not. You can see at this distance I didn't get any XP, but I did get loot, which is quite interesting. So it appears to be about 1.5 screens distance for getting XP, as Bashiok said earlier today in that news item, but it's a greater distance for loot. So all that's left for me to say is to keep watching DiabloIncGamers.com, where myself and the rest of the team tried to keep you up to the minute with news. And don't forget to check out our forums, which are full of fab members, and all the relevant linkage to everything is in the information below this video on YouTube. And thanks for watching. Bye!